I love this diagram, and this is a really representative diagram of what scaling actually looks like. When you start small and you start small budgets, a lot of things will work, especially if your offer is a good offer. Now, as we start scaling outside of our initial audience, we start recognizing that our efficiency decreases. And this isn't always the case, but there will be a certain number, a certain threshold where efficiency starts declining. In other words, your ROAS goes down. And why does your ROAS go down? Well, it's simply a function of you are running out of the hot audience, and we're entering a warm audience segment. What this means is, no, we don't actually have like audience types per se on Facebook or Meta. Because like I've mentioned before, what I'm doing is open targeting, and I'm not actually using any lookalike audiences or any interest-based audiences. What this looks like is an open target will go through its lowest hanging fruit first. Facebook knows where your audience has the highest opportunity to convert. And that is users who have already interacted with you on some level or another. So what does that mean? So effectively, retargeting audiences, the first initial set of audiences, those people who have watched your videos, those people who have already interacted with your page, those people who have liked the post, seen other content, any signals that are on platform that users are giving Facebook as a feedback mechanism per their machine learning is considered a hot audience. They've already interacted with you. Now, or they've been to your website. So especially if you have organic traffic, and that's going to feed into this cold traffic prospecting on Facebook. So what's actually happening is users who have already may have been to your website once or another, they may have even mentioned it on a passing conversation with somebody, or they're talking to somebody who's already seen your ad and now you're in close proximity with their device. All these factors play into the hot and warm audience segments. These are not audience segments that we can actually target. It's audience segments that are built by a data model that Facebook has. We don't have information on that or intel. The only way we can capitalize on this data model is by running open targeting and not forcing the algorithm. Remember we talked about breathing room. Well, breathing room effectively means give the algorithm enough space to figure out what audiences are going to resonate most. Now, I have a lot of data on this, and a lot of different times I've seen this. Even on open targeting, I start having a higher and higher frequency. How is this possible? If I have 129 million users who I'm potentially targeting, and I'm increasing my frequency, well, how is that possible? Well, because the algorithm has determined those users who I'm targeting are at the highest probability to convert. So that does not mean that I'm actually targeting, I'm actually open targeting and there is no targeting. No, it's machine learning, machine adapted targeting. We're utilizing the machine learning and saying, hey, I don't really care who's in this mix, just give me sales, right? And the algorithm will go find those sales for you. It's not to say that I don't care what the sales are, or I don't care, we're not targeting a specific segment of the population. Frankly, it doesn't matter. A sale is a sale, a lead is a lead. So we're going to go open targeting and target those users who have the highest opportunity and highest probability to convert. And as we start scaling out, we run out of that audience. You're only going to have a certain finite limit of those users who have interacted with you. And that's natural. We're going to enter the cool market at that point. The cool market is representative of users who may or may not have any interest in converting with your offer, but have potentially converted with an offer similar to yours, right? So it's users who've been around the web, may have expressed interest in other offers that are really, really close to yours, and therefore might convert on your offer. And then finally, we have the cold. No interest, nothing. We've exhausted all the other audiences. I usually start experiencing this type of audience segment above $50,000 to $100,000 per day in spend. At this point, your offer needs to be rock solid, and you need to know your numbers really, really well, because as we start declining in efficiency, as we start expanding into these newer markets, efficiency is naturally going to decline. As efficiency declines, it's really important for us to understand what our numbers are so that we can stay profitable as we expand. So this is really like the idea, this idea here is really what scaling looks like in a visual representation as we start adding more budget. And of course, I'm going to show you more graphs and things like that in a little bit here, but this is sort of the diagram we go with. This is what scaling means. When we start scaling, we lose efficiency. We lose efficiency because we exhaust our good audiences and we enter these audiences that may or may not convert. They may or may not be interested in our offer. And every offer has a sort of finite limit to what those audiences are. So if we're in a really broad targeted offer, we can, scale a lot. But if we're in a really niche offer, we don't have as many users who might be interested in it, so therefore it's going to limit our scale a lot. And we have to consider this in crafting our offer. How do we want to make it? Do we want to make it for a general population or GP, or do we want to make it more niche and specific? For example, this course that you purchased is very niche and specific, so me scaling this to $50,000 to $100,000 per day may or may not be efficient on Facebook, and that's where I'm going to run into trouble. And so this is a different type of offer that's designed for a different type of user. Now, if we're talking about a weight loss product or some other sort of universal type program, then or universal course that applies to anybody, and really our target is anybody can really benefit from this. And if the answer is that, then or an organizational system that you can use for your car, that's something anybody can benefit from. Everybody's got a car, or even a car wash product. Everybody's got a car. People might be interested in car washing. As long as the product is easy enough for them to use and easy enough to do and it applies to them, then it's broadly applicable, and therefore we can market it to them. So selecting the offer and crafting an offer in a broader audience with that in mind will help us scale further and faster.